attest this. I mean, he's done enough sales, but a lot of people when they're caught up with the number of escrows they've got, the sales prices they've got right now, they're also not planting those seeds for the future. And 3 months from now, they're going to be bummed. So keep storming through everything, but make sure that you are planting those seeds because future you is going to thank you. So, anyways, but David's on. Is he here?
The David Marine.
Wow.
Hey, Chuck.
What's happening, David Marine?
Oh, lots. Peter, how are you?
What's up, man? Good. Good morning.
Morning.
Nice to see you 2 Fridays in a row.
That's right. No, I'm happy to be here, and it's a Chargers bye week. I know they've moved to LA, but I guess you guys are a little bit freer this weekend now with them on a bye.
It's a Charger triple bye year for us, David.
Triple bye.
They've been gone 3 years, and we said goodbye.
Most people in San Diego or anywhere near San Diego, I think, have moved on from the Chargers.
Yes, I have a friend on my fantasy football team, lifelong San Diego resident, Chargers fan, and the name of his fantasy team is the Charger Orphan. So I'm sure that's like many of you as well. But Peter, you want me to jump in, or do you want to do anything, set anything else up?
Chuck, do you want to say anything about David?
Starts? I've been with the brand.
Give it up to Chuck.
I would love to, man. I mean, I'll be honest. I've been with the brand a long time, and a lot of people have come and go. But the one person that's been kind of the staple of Coldwell Banker has been David. And the great new logo that we have, he's always made himself available. He's always being innovative. He's just the one guy that no matter what happens, they know, don't get rid of this guy, because he's the one that makes things happen in the brand. So I mean, I'm excited you're here, David. I mean, we've done stuff together over the years, and one of my favorite people at Coldwell Banker Corporate. And you're always doing good stuff, man. Your marketing's great. I know you're running the marketing group. You've got some marketing directors on the call. So we're just excited to hear what's going on with the brand, man. What kind of new tools are coming out? What's happening in the David Marine Coldwell Banker world?
Which is the David Marine Coldwell Banker world. We're trying to push for David Marine to be president of Coldwell Banker. So look at the claps.
Let's go, David. Come on.
All right. With that intro, it can only go downhill from here. But no, appreciate that. I appreciate that I've known you guys for the majority of my time here as well. So I'm going to try and not break things and share my screen and see if we can get through this together. But really great to be able to talk with you. It is sunny, not 75 here in New Jersey, but that's what I expect to be in San Diego. Hopefully it's a great weekend for you guys up ahead, but want to take a little time here today and share what's going on, not just today, but how we're looking to the future for the Coldwell Banker brand and marketing. And time is something that has really been on my mind and been a focus. I think anyone who looks at the last 18, 24 months, the idea of time and the preciousness of it is something that's probably very real to us. And something that's also requires us to take the moments in time in which we exist and really assess how valuable that is. This idea of time and time travel has been something that's been an obsession of us as human beings, and even through our entertainment, whether it's Back to the Future, The Avengers, Outlander, this idea of time travel and grasping moments in time is something that we are both fascinated by, but also want to understand. And I've seen time flying past me as well through my boys. So here is a picture of the 4 of them. And this picture was taken just 8 years ago. 8 years ago, and this was then, and this is now, my current reality. And if that time has just flown by, and I see it every single day. My oldest is now driving and will be headed off to college next fall. He's a senior this year. And so time is something that's just it's very real in my own day-to-day. But when you look at time as well, I also think about our rebrand, and the timing of it was not seemingly ideal to launch it right ahead of a pandemic and during a pandemic year. But yet it was the perfect time for this, for us to reestablish that we are truly the North Stars of our industry. We are the guides that have been taking people through this process of guiding people home for over 115 years. And you also have redeemed the time given to you guys with this rebrand, which has shown some incredible results, where we're seeing companies that have had their best years on record, more agents coming to our brand than ever before. And in fact, one of the most interesting stats to me is this one, in the fact that we are seeing a 250% increase in social mentions. Okay. And when you think about it, why on earth would people be talking about a real estate brand? What reason do they have to be talking about a real estate company? Not even like, hey, what's going on in my market? What's going on with my house? But to be talking about a real estate brand that just doesn't make any sense. But yet here it is. We're seeing this type of massive increase because we are giving them something to talk about. And I think that that's a testament to all the way that you all have implemented and adopted this rebrand as well. But I think it's also time for us to face another massive hurdle that is standing in front of us, and this idea of listing inventory. It's something that is currently an issue, and I don't think it's going to be going away anytime soon. And from everything that I'm reading and seeing, this seems to be something that is going to be a multi-year issue for us. And it just makes sense that as people who are in the business of guiding people home, we all know that the more yard signs you have in your inventory, the better off and the more successful that you will be. So I wanted to focus on sellers in our future marketing efforts, because for the majority of my time within the real estate spectrum, buyers have been the focus, right? Every real estate site that you go to greets you with a search bar to find a fancy home for sale and to look at these pretty pictures. But when you think about it, what reason do we give sellers to really come to our websites? Every single real estate website out there from the sellers, it's typically there's like a tab on it that says sellers, and you have some generic rote content that you haven't really updated in 5+ years. The only site that is really giving sellers something to explore is Zillow with the Zestimate. And even as laughable as that was when it first started, is now basically turned Zillow into a behemoth in our industry, and it's a power to be reckoned with, and everyone else is playing catch up. And that really needs to stop. And what we and other real estate brands out there, when it comes to sellers, we want them to jump through hoops, fill out forms before we give them the very same information they can get any day at any time for free without jumping through hurdles right on Zillow. And so we need to figure out a way to better attract sellers to our websites. And we all know that these sellers are more valuable than the buyers, yet buyers are where we are focusing the majority of our efforts because it is easy, or it is easier than attracting sellers. Convincing people to move out of their homes is a very daunting task and not something that can easily be done. So that's why in 2022 and even beyond that, we're going to have a seller-focused marketing strategy. We want Coldwell Banker and Coldwell Banker agents to be the home that sellers can turn to guide them to their next place. I think this is a critical thing for us to do. It's going to be, once again, change the conversation in real estate. We did it 10 years ago when we unleashed our Value of a Home campaign that explored the emotional aspects of the home ownership, not just the rational. And you know what? Since that period of time, every single real estate brand, interloper site out there is copying the messaging that we set forth 10 years ago with the emotional aspect of homeownership. And I believe we will be leading again in this, and that everyone else will once again be trying to play catch up. And the reason why we are leading is because I believe we're really the only ones who are trying to understand the seller and what motivates them and what moves them. Here's a look at some of the research that we do, and these are just the ready for prime time visuals. There's tons of different graph charts that we're looking at and how to better understand home sellers and how we can better reach them, whether it's through media, through our online digital play or social or what have you. But we look at them basically in two basic segments, the upgraders and the downsizers. Those are the mass market sellers who are looking to find something better for themselves in an upgrade, or they say, you know what, now it is time for us to look for something maybe a little bit smaller, but maybe in a different place where we've always wanted to live. And the opportunity right now is for that. So we're understanding who they are from a profile perspective, but then also what is their values? What are their drivers? What makes them want to make decisions? What is like behind the mask, and what is inside their brains, and what are the psychological drivers as well? Is studying them and understanding what it is that they are persuaded by and what motivates them to move, whether it's creativity or security, whether they're influenced by this idea of what potentially awaits them, or if it's tradition and family that establishes them better. And then even what media are they consuming? Are they watching TV? Are they on social? Is it podcasting? Is it streaming? How can we best reach them? We're putting all of this into a model to make us understand how we can better reach them through our advertising efforts. We even look at what are the sports that they're interested in? What are the tentpole things that they are watching on television? And anything that's probably a little bit smaller to read, but anything over 100 means that, hey, they are relating well. And the higher over 100 you are, the better off you are in reaching those people. So we're putting all this together in how we can execute our social media plans. And we've seen some success already in some testing that we've done this year, whether it's through our YouTube videos. And this chart on the right, what you always want to see is that the pink bar is going down and the black bar is going up. And that's what we're seeing in having better efficiency of more people watching our videos and engaging with our content at a lower price rate. And then also from a search engine marketing, how are we driving leads? How are we getting people to connect with our local companies and our agents at a better rate than ever before? And we see that the cost per lead from search engine marketing is continuing to go down year over year and seeing success in that. But you put all this together as we try to understand how to attract sellers, how to drive them. We need to send them to a place that there is going to be applicable to them. And so that's why I'm really excited about this idea of rebooting ColdwellBanker.com and really making it a seller-focused destination. Yes, can you still find homes for sale? Can you still find an agent, a company? Absolutely, you can do all that. But how do we better enhance what we are offering our sellers and the experience that they have there? So hopefully this will work. And I've got a little quick teaser video to showcase about where we're headed with ColdwellBanker.com.
To be the ultimate real estate brand today, you need to have the ultimate real estate website. So guess what? We're building it. Announcing the all-new ColdwellBanker.com, now under construction. We're building the first true end-to-end experience for home buying and selling. The only place where people can dream, look, learn, love, list, and connect with the industry's best agents. We're talking about the ultimate destination for home sellers, with industry-exclusive tools like the Move Meter that compares cost of living city by city, and a remarkable new seller's assurance program. We're talking about revolutionizing what guiding people home means, reaching people at every stage of the process with personalized information and expert knowledge from our agents. And that's just the start. With the all-new site, we can't wait for Coldwell Banker agents to enjoy a whole new world of leads, clients, connections, and success. So get ready, because the ultimate real estate brand is about to have the ultimate real estate website. To do ColdwellBanker.com, coming soon.
So it's a little tease of what's to come. And I know the first question that everybody asks is, when is it available? And I wish I could tell you that it was going to be, March 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is when the site will be ready, but we're currently working through the development right now. This is the direction that we're headed, and the plan is for this to be unleashed in 2022. So not only are we just enhancing the visual aspects of the site to give it a fresher look and just a better feel to it, but adding some certain features to it that we think are real difference makers. One of them, which seems to get the most attention, is this idea of the Move Meter, which I've really yet to see executed in a unique way on any other real estate site out there. But to take two cities and compare them, of what is the difference in moving from one to the other. So what's the difference between moving from Redondo Beach, California to Whitefish, Montana? Not just in the price of the home, but some of the livability factors. What is the differences in weather patterns? What is the difference in the cost of milk, the cost of gas? All these things to paint a picture of what is the difference between moving from one place to the next. And so while price is absolutely one thing, is creating that lifestyle idea as well and making the difference for them. So we're excited about that. Another thing that we are looking to showcase is what we're calling our seller assurance program. And this is surprising that this has not been done before, because I think it's a very simple idea. It's taking all the things that we offer sellers, and some of them are often quite complex, whether it is something like a Real Vitalize or a Real Shore, to the very fact that we have a seller's disclosure or a guarantee of our services in writing with our seller guarantee. Put this all together under a consumer-friendly umbrella called the Seller Assurance Program, and basically allowing consumers to say, Coldwell Banker has something specific for sellers, and it can be different for each of our companies across the country or across the globe, and allow you to tailor it specifically to what are the services you offer for sellers that are unique from anyone else. But it gives us that talking point to be able to connect with sellers at a mass scale. And then lastly is something that we're calling CB Guides. And this is creating master class level content around the selling process that will feature our very own Coldwell Banker agents and guiding them through how do you sell a home for the first time to staging to whatever topics would be of interest to sellers, and just creating a destination on our site that allows sellers to engage at this very level. And so then what are the results of this? What are you really going to get out of this? And I think it comes down to more leads, more listings, and then more love. More leads, not just any leads, but seller-focused leads. If we are allowing people to connect with Coldwell Banker content in our site at a massive scale, it is going to drive them to want to work with a Coldwell Banker agent, which we think will produce more listings, which everyone seems to love, which how can you argue with that? So creating a site is one thing, but we also have to drive people there at scale. And I talked a little bit about our media plan up front and trying to connect and understand that seller as well. And then we would be looking to execute that through a national campaign across social, television, video, search, and everything in between. And what you have at your disposal, and this is my favorite slide to talk with people, is that no other real estate brand knows how to connect with consumers better than Coldwell Banker. Not Zillow, not the National Association of Realtors, not any of your standard competitors. No one is able to connect with consumers on an emotional level and know how to reach them better than we do. We have the #1 rated advertising campaign for 10 straight years, and I know that will continue in 2022 as well, because we're going to be focusing our campaign on this idea of dreaming. That right now, the world is open to anyone. With remote working being a very reality to pretty much the majority of people out there, the ability to work from anywhere, the ability to move, and the idea that time is short and precious, and to take advantage of it, I think is something that we are able to key on. There's a bit of a YOLO meets FOMO aspect. You only live once, and the fear of missing out is what is motivating people, and I think that we can key in on as far as getting people to understand that this is the time is now to make that move. They're never going to find a better situation from mortgage rates to the flexibility of making that move and going to the place that they've always dreamed of. So we are calling this campaign the Dream Campaign, and here is a little sneak peek of what we call a rough cut.
If you could live anywhere, where would it be? And what would it be like? Would it be a place where you need a map to find your nearest neighbor? Or would it be the perfect place to find your crowd? Would it be a place that has 4 seasons? Or the kind of place where sandals are in style all year long? With today's home values and mortgage rates, this is the perfect time to sell and make those dreams real. And when you're ready to make them happen, the best place to get started is at coldwellbanker.com, where we've built the ultimate real estate website. Here, you can get an instant estimate on your home, explore listings across America, compare cost of living city by city, and learn more about our revolutionary Seller's Assurance program. So it's really never been more true. Your dreams don't have to be just dreams. At coldwellbanker.com, your someday starts today. Coldwell Banker, guiding people home since 1906.
So that ad starts with the question, if you could live anywhere, where would it be? You guys have the very fortunate luxury of the majority of people would say San Diego, because it basically fulfills the majority of the things in which we're highlighting there. So while we think this is the perfect time to sell, given the market conditions and what's going on, we also know that this is the most perfect time for people to dream. And we believe that we can touch on that reality better than anyone else. And so I'm excited about what's in store for 2022, whether it's our campaign, the website, and some of the different ways in which we're going to be able to connect with sellers and hopefully drive more listings and make 2022 your best year ever. So with that, I will attempt to stop sharing and see if there's any questions in the chat or anything else that I need to cover. Love the move meter. Awesome. Exciting. Good. Kids going to college is scary, Corey. It is scary because, you know, the scariest thing, real quick sidebar here, is I found out after my son had taken the SATs that if he gets a certain score, it basically saves me $5,000 a year. And so I'm waiting for these results. These are $5,000 a year results, making $20,000 difference. So hopefully he did as well as I hope he does.
That's great, David. Does that mean if you take 6 years instead of 4, you save more?
No, doesn't work that way. And this is a 4-year cutoff for sure.
So David, thanks for that presentation. I'm excited to hear that we're going to be back on national TV with advertising again. I know during COVID, you just cut that beautiful commercial and couldn't use it and had to postpone it for a year. And to see it coming back in the way it is, you gave me goosebumps again.
Oh, I appreciate that. That's great to hear, Corey.
I got a quick question for you, David.
Sure.
So I'm an agent. I'm listening to this. I'm kind of watching all the Coldwell Banker tools that are out there and everything. What do you think the best way to leverage the marketing tools that Coldwell Banker has? And what do you think would be the best way to try to get more buyers and sellers, on the micro level, on the agent level, using the tools? I love the commercials and all that stuff, and obviously brand recognition is everything, and I know that's your job. And I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, David. I'm sorry, but what do you think are the real tools that we can use to, really create those buyers and sellers? And I do still think it's a good time for buyers. I just want to, we could talk about that too, but for particularly sellers, what do you think we should be doing and using?
Yeah, one of the biggest things I think is utilizing the CBX buyer locator. And we call it buyer locator, but it's really a tool for sellers, because you're being able to show them hey, this is where I can find people that can be interested in your home, and I can get them here. Unlike anyone else utilizing, whether it's social ad engine as a mechanism to attract people. And I think that there's a point in time where I don't know the specifics of your local market, but where there's multiple offers that are for everything. And so it's well, how do I really need help in finding buyers if I'm getting multiple efforts just by putting it on there? The key is that this is the conversation to have at the listing presentation table as to why they should be working with you versus anyone else. Whether you actually ever use the tool or not, doesn't matter. You're able to showcase to the seller, this is how I approach things, this is how I think differently about it. Because I guarantee you every other agent that you're competing against is going to walk in there and be yeah, I'm going to put a sign in the yard, we're going to have an open house, I'm going to send postcards to the same 250 people I do every time. And then you can walk in and say, here, I tell you, I have a data-driven approach in how I like to market a property and attract buyers. And so whether you actually really need to utilize it or not is a moot point, because you're making the difference of showing how you approach things differently. So I think that's one of the biggest ones.
And Peter, Corey, I want to make sure, everybody on the call, and I'm going to actually ask you to shake your heads one way or another, but is everyone actually familiar with Buyer Locator? Do you guys know what Buyer Locator is and the power of that tool? Okay, it looks like quite a few do, David, but just for those of you guys that don't, the coolest way that a inexperienced agent can go up against an experienced agent and win on a listing presentation is by using CBX, which is now obviously integrated into Moxie, but to use the Buyer Locator tool that actually shows, here's the house. Based on this house, here's the income level where the buyer is going to come from, here's the geography where they're going to come from, here's the average education, here's the number of kids, here's the average commute time, all those sorts of things, so that when you are out there on that listing appointment, you can really wow everybody by showing them that you know exactly where to market, where all these other people are just throwing flyers out and putting them out and doing this and doing that. They don't even know where they're going. But what David's saying is the Buyer Locator tool will tell you, spend your money here in Whittier if you're looking to have them move to Moreno Valley. Spend your money here, in Seal Beach if you're looking to wonder who's going to move down to Del Mar, whatever, right? So that's it in a nutshell, David. But if you guys don't know about Buyer Locator, that might be a cool class, Corey, that maybe we should be promoting a little bit more. I don't know if you guys are pushing Buyer Locator, but it is a great tool. Thoughts, Corey?
I'll just put in the chat as well the URL, and you just have to log in with your desk guide info, and it should take you right there.
I love it. Now, David, what about the buyer end? Obviously, that's a great tool to land the listings, especially if you don't have the experience. You can go in there and you can knock it out with CBX, right, and Buyer Locator. But on the buyer end, what would be some of the tools that you think we could use to help fish to get buyers to use us, to use our people?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in the social ad engine tool and how that's been performing as a whole. I see some of the reporting across the entire brand of the effectiveness of it, and the lead gen campaigns that are part of that are actually driving significantly lower than the industry average as far as the cost per lead, We're actually in some areas we're seeing lower than $10 for a cost per lead to get someone into your system. And also that was built in conjunction with Facebook. So it uses the optimizations of not only audience profiling, but also the creation of ad units to make sure that your ads are the best performing that are out there. So if you're looking to use social media to extend to a new buyer outlet and to reach a new audience, I think that's a fantastic tool. And this one may sound a little odd, but I think also from a global luxury standpoint, if you're looking to extend into a higher price point, whether it's on the sell side or on the buy side, getting involved with the Global Luxury Program, going through the Global Luxury certification is going to help you immensely there. That course is set up with the expertise of some of our top agents across the globe, influencing on the content and how to handle different situations. And while it's geared towards the luxury profile, it's going to help you across your business as a whole, because it's teaching you some of the basic tactics, which I think are going to be applicable whether you're on the high end, the mid end, or the low end as well, and you're learning from some of the best of the best. So I think that also can give you some greater insight and access to those tools on the luxury standpoint if you're looking to increase your price point and market share, whether it's on the buy side or the sell side. Then, of course, I think that the brand serve is a great place from a sphere of influence standpoint. I need to reconnect with my local community. I need to make sure that they see top of mind. There's everything from video, social video content to social graphics that can help you get out there. And then one last thing, I know I'm throwing the kitchen sink at you, but if you haven't gotten involved in, yeah, go ahead, Chuck.
No, do it. No, do it. Keep throwing.
Do it? Okay. And this is also may sound atypical, is look into the CB Support St. Jude program. St. Jude is a fantastic organization which helps families with kids that have cancer. They never get a payment. They get all their treatments for free. I'm sure you've seen their ads being run. We just started supporting them this past year. We set a goal of 250 grand raise. We doubled it to $500,000. I'm pushing that we have over $1 million as our goal for next year. But what we're seeing from the value of people seeing you associated with St. Jude is off the charts. Like, it basically doubles people's perception of you as soon as you put St. Jude's on something. So whether it's from a seller or a buy side perspective, when you participate in the CB Support St. Jude program and you put that sign rider on that yard sign, all of a sudden that is going to be another signal, not only to the seller of like, oh, wow, sale of my home is going to help kids in need and their families, but also to everyone who drives by and sees that David Marine and Coldwell Banker West is part of supporting St. Jude. It is going to change people's perception of you, and it's going to be a great way to market yourself. And the way the program works is real simple. You basically say for a month, for 2 months, for the entire year, hey, every home that I sell in this time period, I'm going to donate minimum of $25 to St. Jude. You can make it as high as you want. And then it basically automatically handles all of that for you. And then you can turn it off whenever you want. So I'm going to dedicate the month of January to be my month to support St. Jude, and however many homes that you sell during that time period, that's when the donations are made. It's a fantastic, simple program, and you get access to all those CB Support St. Jude's materials. And I'm telling you, it will make a difference with your sphere when you start showcasing that you are helping support St. Jude.
Awesome. Okay, so Corey, without me dominating everything, I mean, I do have another question, but if other people have questions, go for it.
Okay.
Go, please.
Good morning. This is Maria. I have a question. I have a possible listing in the Eagle Rock area, LA, and it's a custom home, and I find it a little difficult in appraising it or getting a listing price on it. What do you suggest? It's a very custom import. It's like everything in the house is imported. The tile, it's beautiful. It's like, what do you suggest I do? There's another place where it's a garage, but it was made, it's actually a room and the garage isn't being used. And it's, the owner bought the property 40 years ago. And I need an idea of what exactly to do in just getting a price listing it.
I'm probably not the expert to help you with the price on how to list it, but I would say that you should probably work with your manager and maybe even look at teaming up with some agents who have also sold in that marketplace and may have some similar experience to be able to give you some better guidance on that.
Okay.
That was the perfect answer, David. So Maria, just reach out to to us, and we'll be happy to help you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Corey, it's Michelle Carnley. I had a question. Where do we get that St. Jude sign writer?
Yeah, D-Sign has them, and I believe if you go on desk to the CD Support St. Jude tile, it'll have access to all the information for you. And then we just confirm before you purchase the yard sign that you are participating in the program. And it's pretty simple as that.
We'll find that.
Lots of people saying.
Thank you.
So my question and this is for you, Corey, and for you, Lance. I know we were having a lot of success, David, with Social Ad Engine at the beginning. And then I think it was kind of the new shiny penny, and everybody was excited about it. And then I think we kind of like drifted away from it. And now I'm hearing you again, and it's making me think maybe we need to revisit it again, as something that's a viable option. But I've always wondered this question with Social Ad Engine. And for those of you guys out there, you take a listing, Social Ad Engine, you can, for a very actually inexpensive amount, you can purchase ad time through Facebook and all that sort of stuff. But I was always curious, David, does Social Ad Engine have anything to do with the buyer locator? Like, who's determining the algorithm of where they're marketing our properties to when we buy the Social Ad Engine social media package? Is it coming from that buyer locator piece, or is Facebook deciding that they believe that the advertisement should be here?
Yeah, actually, before Social Ad Engine, we were utilizing the buyer locator as feeding insights into how our agents should be marketing their properties on social. But now with a number of the different privacy changes and the way that Facebook ads are operating, it's become what's referred to as a walled garden. So there's no way out, and it's all basically self-contained. So actually the system within Facebook and the fact that Social Ad Engine is utilizing learnings across the entire spectrum of real estate ads is what actually is making that perform better. The tough part is we'd love to export that information and insight out of that and be able to utilize it in other places and vice versa. But with the new privacy rules and everything that's going on within Facebook, and especially with some of the Apple devices now requiring certain levels of security on it, that is no longer possible. So it's basically a self-learning machine, as frightening as that sounds.
David, can I share a constructive comment on Social Ad Engine? So
sure.
First of all, I want you to know that our agents have had a lot of success in using Social Ad Engine, and some challenges too. On the success side, we've had buyers on all levels of price points, including a real $8.5 million buyer that purchased a property directly from an ad on Social Ad Engine. At least that's where the original contact came from. The challenging part, and part of that's our MLS split in San Diego County, and which affects Chuck's company as well, is we have issues sometimes getting the properties into Ad Engine in a timely basis. I think that may be a little Coldwell Banker related too, that we should look into. Speed to the syndication sites is important, and that's something I'd ask that you take a look at. Maybe we could talk about some more offline.
Sure, that's a fair point.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, what other questions do we have out there? You got the big cheese on the line. This is your one and only chance. Don't freeze up.
Hey, David, this is Valerie Gardner. How you doing?
Good, Valerie. How are you?
Awesome. So the question that Chuck posed was excellent question for me, and your answer. So what did your answer mean? I mean, when I go on Social Ad Engine, who are those people going to? If I have a house in, let's say, La Mesa, California, is Social Ad Engine going to send my advertisement to people in that area, or where is it going? Because I've used Social Ad Engine, and I'm one agent who has not had any success with it. So I need to understand it so I can keep putting money in there if it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes. So it is going to assessing the profile of the property and what the ad that you're trying to serve up. So if you are serving up a property and you're like, hey, this is a lead gen ad that I want to do, or is it an impression-based advertising buy, it determines based on that the audience for that specific property. So it's going to be looking at a number of different things. Who are people who have done activities on Facebook that are similar in real estate related activities within that area, and that might be the right type of profile for you. Okay. What we don't have eyes into is what is the secret algorithm and secret sauce between getting the exposure out that, but it is most definitely going to be regionally and location based, but it will likely be pulling in surrounding areas of, hey, here's people who've looked for real estate stuff in your market, but may not necessarily be in that market as well. So it will give you a broad range. And based on your performance, you should get some metrics back that's showing here's how many people it reached, here's kind of the interactions with it, how many clicked on it, how many filled out a lead form. What I have seen is that a lot of people, because it's cheaper, will just say, hey, I'm going to do an impressions-based campaign, and you just throw it out there and it gets seen by 1 million people, and then you move on. I would say that the best way to use it is using the lead gen aspect of it. And then I'm going to warn you all, lead gen, everybody who fills out a lead is not going to be ready to buy that property immediately. That's why it's great to have the CRM system in place or some sort of follow-up methodology so that you can incubate those leads and work it. But I'm telling you that they are more cost-effective way of driving leads than basically pretty much any other outlet that's out there today. And we're seeing that as well. We've recently implemented from a national standpoint what's called a market mix model that allows us to measure the effectiveness of our media buy and say, how much are we spending? And for every dollar we spend, what are we getting back? And we're seeing from social, for every dollar we spend, it's basically producing about $14 to $15 in revenue. And so that is a really great, if you went on Shark Tank and you shared that, like for every dollar you spend, you're producing this amount of revenue, they'd be like, yes, I'm going to give you a deal right now. And so that's why I'm looking at social media and social ad engine as being a viable outlet to help produce some results that are going to drive growth.
Hey, Valerie.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Valerie, I want to jump in on what David said, and here's one of the cool things. So, and again, we really do need to revisit social ad engine. We're definitely going to do it in our company, David. So thank you for reminding it. But one of the cool things about social ad engine, and we have a couple of nerds that we got that were in the industry of buying leads and scrubbing leads and all that, and they actually ran a comparison. We took one of the social ad engine pieces that we paid for, and then they did their own, trying to do their search on trying to capture buyers, and social ad engine dominated them from what they'd been doing. But the most important thing is right now the market, we're still slowing. It's we're still 5 days on market, 7 days on market. But in the old days, when it took 30 days, 60 days, social ad engine would give you a report. And you could take that report and you can go back to your seller and you can say, Mr. Seller, we had 497 people look at it today. We had this much action, this many clicks, this many people visited. So it actually gives you the ability to show what your reach is actually doing. And most brands don't have that. So for me to be able to say, so far it's gone through 10,000 people's feeds, that's a lot more powerful than saying, yeah, I got it out there on Facebook. Well, here's the actual report. And Mr. Seller, we've got 10,000 people that have looked at it. And obviously we've had open houses, we've done everything. This is showing us that we need to get a price reduction. So we can start using that back-end social media tools of social ad engine, when we are trying to cultivate price reductions or, show the seller that we're doing a good job taking care of their listing. Whereas right now, we don't have any back-end information on social media. I mean, would you agree with that, Corey? Don't you think that's one of the best features of social ad engine?
Yeah, I agree with you, Chuck. And as David said, while the leads, any internet lead, doesn't matter what platform you're using, is going to have a life of about 17 months before they act on average. Some will be now, some will be later. But it's important to build that funnel in your CRM and have that working for you to keep them alive. And yes, Chuck, I agree with you. And social ad engine really is a tremendous tool, and I think it can get even better.
Time to ramp that back up.
Hey, Chuck, it's Lance. Let me jump in for a sec.
Yes, sir.
Hey, David, I missed you in New York. I was kind of looking for you, but our paths never quite crossed. So, who would have thought we'd spend 10 minutes talking about social ad engine this morning? But seriously, I agree with Chuck. It's kind of one of those things, Chuck is obsessed with Coldwell Banker tools. And every time we get together and we talk, it's like, hey, we got to push tools. And I think we as managers and owners and the agents, sometimes we kind of forget this gigantic engine that we have behind us. And I agree. We were really heavy with social ad engine. And for whatever reason, I don't know what it was, we kind of drifted away. And I just think we could use this example for everything. I mean, I look at our own agents and how they've taken advantage of the Coldwell Banker branded websites. And sometimes I just put my hands in my head and I'm like, oh my God, we've got these beautiful websites and we haven't taken full advantage of them. We haven't customized, we haven't used all those back-end tools, or now we've got Moxie. And quite honestly, Moxie is fantastic. We all know that, we all love it. But I think I want to warn everybody, I have the same concern. You got to get in and use the darn thing and commit to it and stick with it. Or a year from now, we're going to be talking about Moxie the same way we're now talking about social ad engine, as we got this dynamic thing. So at any rate, good job. And I'm with Peter, David for president. So let's get a campaign going. Let's make some waves.
Hey, Lance, can you go ahead?
I missed you in New York, Lance.
Lance, all right, man, all good.
Can you send a message to Ryan and tell him that we all would like to put that forward?
Yeah, I've already done that, actually. I've got a hashtag started already, and we're going to push that. So Peter, we'll put Peter's name in there somewhere as the campaign chairman, and we'll make that happen. Anyway, sorry for causing trouble. But the larger point is I really think all of us need to commit to the tools, even if that's just once a week or once a month, going into CB Desk and just reminding ourselves that we've got all this stuff that's available to us, and we need to use it. So at any rate, good job, David. Thanks, man.
Appreciate it, Lance. I'm glad you're excited about Moxie too. And I think also the market condition has also lent itself to that, as well. Like, oh, everything's so busy, it's so good, and like I don't really need to do this now because I'm just making deals every which way. But we all know that this will eventually slow down again. Maybe it won't, and we'll all be really lucky. But having those tools and understanding of them will certainly help you not even feel that slowdown, because you'll be able to be like, you know what, I'm going to use this time now where things are good to make sure that when they aren't, I am ready to execute on them. So I think that's great.
I have a question.
Yes.
So the new website that's coming out, I've had a lot of buyers want to show me listings from Redfin or Zillow or other places, and they absolutely love those websites. So I'm wondering what else our new website will have that's going to be able to compete with those other websites. And my second part of that question is, how do we get those leads? Is it going to be similar to that Zap thing, that just auto calls different agents?
Okay, that's in. All right, yeah, Darlene. So let me answer the first part first. So I hear it all the time, like my customers are sending me links from Zillow and from Realtor and from Redfin and from this other site and whatever. And they're saying to me, why aren't they sending them from our site? Would I love for every single one of our customers to only visit the Coldwell Banker owned sites? Yes, I would. Is that a reality? It is not. We're not going to stop people from visiting Zillow or Realtor or any of these other sites. But what my desire is what can we offer people that is unique to us and different from what everyone else is doing? Because that is where we need to go. You can find real estate listings for sale on basically any site that's out there. Millions of them out there. I can find my home for sale. That's not where we can differentiate. But where I do think we can differentiate is on how we connect with sellers and give them something specific for them, whether that is through content, through video, through specific tools like the Move Meter. That's where I think that we need to go, and where there is an unmet need among sellers. Will we still be able to fulfill the need of showcasing what homes are for sale and finding our agents? Absolutely. But that's really the difference maker, and where I think we can establish ourselves. And perhaps from that, we'll be able to see more people come in and search for properties as well. And then you asked about lead routing. Lead routing rules, that's all still being worked through as part of the development process, whether it's going to be calling random agents or routing based upon market share, that's all to be determined still. So I don't have specifics on that yet. Cool.
Cool. Okay, so are there any other questions out there that anyone might have while we got David on the line? I think the reminder, and I got to go with Lance, the reminder is, there's a reason that we are with Coldwell Banker, and that reason is the tools. And yet, I was talking to my agents yesterday, David, you'll love this, and he just got solicited from another company, and he goes, Chuck, I use this much of the tools that are at the company. And he goes, however, if I ever want to expand my business, I know that there's this many tools that can help me kick ass. He said, but I know they're there. And he goes, I'm only using that much, and when I'm ready to ramp up my business, I'm going to dive in. But I think we, Lance, me, we all just need to do a better job. And thank you for pointing that out, Lance, of really showcasing the tools and making sure that people are using them. Because guys, the tools, and the only reason that we're interested in the tools is for three things, right? Leads, leads, and leads. Of course, David's taking care of the big branding picture out in the world, making sure that Coldwell Banker's in everybody's face all the time. But we really need to be utilizing these tools. For me, David, the best tool I've ever seen since I started here, CBX, of course, when that came out was mind-blowing, right? But the best tool I've ever seen, and unfortunately for us, we didn't get it as soon as Ascent, and Coldwell Banker West did, but the Moxie package is phenomenal, dude. Like, we've only seen one of the 5 pieces that are coming, the texting programs, the landing platforms, all the cool stuff that's in Moxie. Like, we are so excited. We've got somebody dedicated 100% to just learning the other segments of the Moxie tools you guys have given us. So I don't want to pass that up from us. Keep Moxie. Keep all those tools coming. Those 5 segments are awesome, dude. Awesome.
That's great. Glad to hear it. And I love the fact that you're saying, hey, I need somebody who can be dedicated to understanding this, and that's going to be rewarding for you down the road when we start getting into rollouts as well. So I'm glad to hear that you're excited about it. And Chuck is one of the biggest and best CB tools promoter out there. So you're lucky to have him as part of this.
Thanks, man. I used to be better, but I got to catch back up. So anything else, Corey, before we head out of here?
I'm going to ask Peter to jump back in and wrap us up a little bit early, and thank David for his time today.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys. I think I got one question. David, last week in New York, why didn't you twerk on stage?
Did you see how many phones were in that audience? And then I don't know that I would still be able to present to you today if I had. So what was funny is when I told my wife like what happened in the whole scenario. So quick backstory. What was supposed to happen was my team wanted her to mention my name and say like this next song is for David Marine as like a joke and a gag or whatever. But BB went off script and did that whole other thing. And so then they were all like nervous, like, oh no, what is he gonna do? So when I told my wife what happened, she's like, man, they picked the wrong person for this. They had no idea. So yes, I'm still here, I'm still employed, and that is why I did not.
Well, we had a great time. Thank you for everything, David.
My pleasure, guys. Always good to meet with you. Thanks for having me, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, David. Talk to you guys soon. Take care. We're out.